This is what I was talking about. We gotta figure out a way to all make a living outside of our jobs because AI is gonna wipe us all out. We're done. We're cooked. And even Bernie Sanders knows it. If he knows it and you don't know it,
Thanks very much for joining me. You know, in the midst of these unprecedented and crazy times, government shutdown, Trump's devastation of healthcare in America, climate change, the move toward authoritarianism, the horrific war in Gaza, the growth of oligarchy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to take a few minutes talking about another issue of enormous consequence that just doesn't get the kind of attention I think it deserves. Everybody agrees that artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics are going to have a transformative impact on our country and the world. There is very little disagreement about that. There are, however, very strong disagreements as to what those impacts will be. Who will benefit from these changes and who will be hurt?
I don't know. Will they replace me? I'm a car salesperson. I'm pretty sure that AI could replace most of the stuff I do, answering phone calls, emails, sending pictures. But someone actually would have to go out and take the pictures. But there are independent businesses that go around taking all the pictures of cars and putting them on the website for you. So if I owned a dealership and if I had 150 cars and I didn't want to take a picture of if I didn't want to take 30 pictures of every single car, I could call someone and they come out and do it, or you could spend the time to do it yourself. But they're not a salesperson. So now instead of the dealership employing someone to take the pictures, you know, 3 salespeople, or maybe one of their salespeople takes all their pictures. Now that they can have 1 salesperson instead of 3.
So here is my take.
But you can apply this to anywhere, anything. They don't need as many people to answer the phone. They won't need as many people to send emails. Or to make appointments. That's already done. If you call somewhere, you're probably getting AI. You're getting a robot on the phone, and it's 95% automated. And then if you're like a part of the 5% where it can't automate do it, it'll put you through to an agent.
Wealthiest people in the world, including Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and others, are now investing hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into these revolutionary, transformative technologies. Now, why is that? Why are they doing that? Is it because they want to improve the standard of living of the 60% of our people who live paycheck to paycheck? Americans who are struggling to pay for groceries, healthcare, housing, education? Maybe.
Stuff's expensive.
Maybe they are staying up nights worrying about the working families of America. But I doubt it. I think it's because investing in AI and robotics will increase their already incredible wealth and power exponentially. Among other impacts, the artificial intelligence and robotics being developed by these
I think the only thing we can do is figure out a way to profit with AI. Like them. Got to figure out a way to use it for business.
Multi-billionaires will allow corporate America to wipe out tens of millions of decent paying jobs, cut labor costs, and boost profits.
Oh my gosh. So let's say he says tens of millions. I feel like that could be 35 million jobs, and that is 10%. That's roughly, let's say, about 10% of American citizens. Their job would just gone. One in 10 people. You got a group of you and 9 of your friends. At least one of you, your job is gone. Probably like most of you, your jobs are gone because if you still have friends, if you have friends, you have enough free time that you don't. Never mind.
The result?
Unless
The
you bought
wealthiest people
unless you bought your time back.
in the world will get even richer.
Wait, but if you have the money and you bought your time back, you don't need the money anymore.
While working families lose their jobs and their income. And unless we act, here is, in my view, I don't claim to have all the answers, but in my view, this is what is likely to happen in the next 10 years. Now, as a member of Congress who vigorously opposed the disastrous trade agreements that decimated communities throughout this country, I, like most Americans, want to see manufacturing rebuilt in the United States of America. But let us be clear, new factories won't mean much for working people if the jobs are done by robots instead of human beings. Elon Musk has said he wants Tesla to build millions of robots. And what will these robots do? Well, obviously, they will replace the men and women working in our factories, warehouses, and in restaurants and in other areas. That means millions of good jobs could disappear. It's not very complicated. And of course, it's not just Musk.
I guess jobs in that field have been disappearing for a really long time, though, as far as assembly. That's what we're talking about. You know, the cars are assembled a lot by robots now. Humans are putting the finishing touches on them.
Amazon, owned by Jeff Bezos, has already laid off 27,000 workers since 2022. The company now has more than 1 million robots working in its warehouses, and soon.
Well, if it takes 1 million robots to replace 27,000 people, that's pretty strong. How many robots is one person worth? If it took Amazon 1 million robots to replace 27,000 workers, how many robots is one person, one worker equivalent to? Thanks, ChatGPT.
These robots will outnumber human workers in Amazon facilities. In 2016, Foxconn, the massive manufacturing contractor for companies like Apple and Google, replaced 60,000 workers in a single huge factory in China with robots. Now, the company is planning fully automated factories. And just a few months ago, Foxconn CEO Young Liu predicted that artificial intelligence will make it unnecessary for large corporations to outsource jobs to low-wage countries. You know why? Because robots will be doing most of the manufacturing work.
They won't even need to do the outsourcing anymore?
However, it is not just manufacturing jobs at risk. Most of us want to see the United States develop a strong, clean, and effective.
Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure manufacturing is just going to be gone. At a certain point. He's got a funny face right here. At a certain point, you just won't need people to do manufacturing, right? And I know it's like, oh no, these people are going to lose their jobs. Yeah, that's supposed to free humanity's time to do more and better with their life. Crazy stuff.
Efficient transportation system. including the production of millions of new cars, buses, and trucks. But if Musk and others get their way, those vehicles won't be operated by truck drivers, bus drivers, or taxi drivers. They will be driverless vehicles. Millions of jobs in transportation will be eliminated. This is not science fiction. It's already happening. FedEx is using
Yeah, and isn't there self-driving taxis, Waymos? Places like California?
driverless trucks to haul heavy loads along the I-45 corridor between Dallas and Houston through a company called Aurora. Walmart is using autonomous trucks for short-haul deliveries in Arkansas through a company called Gatik. Kodiak Robotics has partnered with IKEA to conduct driverless deliveries in Texas. Waymo is operating self-driving cabs in Los Angeles, Phoenix, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Austin. We all want to see more startup companies and small businesses, but for workers, that will mean very little if half of all white-collar entry-level jobs are eliminated over the next 5 years. And that is exactly what has been predicted by Dario Amodei, the founder of Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies in the world. As the ranking member of the Health Education...
I think that's why Bernie here says 10, because if the CEO or whatever, the leader of the AI company says, give me 5 years and I'll cut out like half your workforce, he's obviously gassing it up to sell shit, and it's probably going to take him 10 years. But in 10 years, probably all screwed, all cooked.
Labor and Pensions Committee. I just
thought
released a
bad
report
now,
finding that AI, automation, and robotics could replace nearly 100 million jobs in America over the next decade, including 40% of registered nurses, 47% of truck drivers, 64% of accountants, 65% of teaching assistants, and 89% of fast food workers, among many other occupations. And as bad as that may seem, I'm afraid it could be an underestimate. In June, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, predicted that AI could eliminate, quote, literally half of all white-collar jobs in the U.S., end quote.
I was kidding when I said it. I didn't know it was
Jim Farley, Ford. Elon Musk said this year that as a result of AI and robotics, quote, probably none of us will have a job. If you want a job, that's kind of like a hobby. You can do a job. But otherwise, AI and robotics will provide any goods and services you want, end of quote. Earlier this year, Bill Gates predicted that humans, quote, won't be needed for most things,
what I was
quote,
saying in the beginning.
such as manufacturing products,
Wait,
delivering
what
packages,
is happening?
or growing food over the next decade due to AI. So, my friends, here is a rather big question. If Musk and Gates and others are only half right in their predictions,
yeah, that's the
what
scary
happens
part.
to the tens of millions of Americans who no longer have employment because...
So, if the gas master's saying give me 5 years and I'll cut out 50% of your workforce, it's probably more like 10 years. And it's most likely not half, it's probably going to be 25%. So being more realistic here, in the next 10 years, a quarter of people won't be working. Like there won't even be, you can't get a job. I think that's a fair middle ground. And it could be accelerated. Who knows? It could just happen sooner. That's probably the baseline minimum of the trajectory where we're headed now. If there's any kind of explosion in technology, well, see, the thing with that is you might be thinking about asking Chat GPT questions, and that just goes off of a Wikipedia page. But what these people are going to be using AI for is to, okay, if I want to build this, it's just going to program it to know. This is what already robots are already doing, but it's just becoming better at doing it. It's going to know how much to tighten this screw. It's going to know everything about how to build this piece here, or anything. I'm trying to find like even my headphones here. They're already using robots to build cars. Now they're just going to apply self-learning artificial intelligence to it. It's going to be crazy. Thank you.
They can't find jobs that don't exist. In this brave
They won't
new
exist.
world, how do these Americans pay for healthcare, food, housing?
You know what? If I ever couldn't be a salesperson, could be a mechanic. I'm mechanical. I'm good with my hands, so I could work on the robots
and the other necessities of life. But it's,
dude, we all are freaking cooked, bro. Like literally, you have 5 to 10 years to go out and make. This is it. This is it. Listen. You have 5 to 10 years to go out and make as much money as you possibly can and save it, because after that happens, you won't be able to. There won't be a job. You can't get money, and money will become infinitely valuable. It's as if like it becomes unobtainable. It's like I have a car. I have a car. It's 35 years old, and because the car was once in massive production all over the place, you could get the parts. But now, as the car gets older, the parts become more expensive. Now, if a car is 100 years old, try to get a part for it, it becomes what we call it's unobtainable, and it's made of metal, so we call it unobtainium. The metal is unobtainable. It's unobtainium. And that's what money will be. Money will be unobtainable. That's the scary part.
It's not just economics. Work, whether being a janitor or a brain surgeon, is an integral part of being a human being. The vast
That's true. We are all made to want to create and build.
majority of people want to be productive members of society and contribute to their communities. What happens when that vital aspect of human existence is removed from our lives? Further,
Not fun, I can tell you.
and now we get into some pretty deep stuff. The rapid developments in AI will likely have a profoundly dehumanizing impact on all of us. In many ways, it will actually redefine what it means to be human, fundamentally alter our relationship.
The fact that Bernie sees this, and he's so much older and wiser than us, and we grew up with this, we don't even see it. A lot of people don't even see it yet, but he sees it. That's how you know we're
Relationships to each other and the very nature of what we call society. Can AI and robotics be of help to us in many ways? Absolutely. I believe they can. I am not a Luddite. The goal, however, is to make sure that the new technologies being developed serve human needs and not just further enrich a small number of multi-billionaires. We do not simply need a more efficient society. We need a world where people live healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives. So, where do we go from here? And again, I don't have all of the answers, but here are just a few ideas.
I don't even know, because it's like a part of me says you can't fight technology and improvement and advancement. And if people don't have to drive to work every day and there's less car accidents and all that, I mean, what is that better?
As to how, in my view, the
Bernie says that we as people want to build and help our society and create something bigger. Um, that's what we will do in our free time. You know, I myself am passionate about the ocean and fish. If I had all the time in the world and all the money, I would go fly there and do whatever I could to take care of fishes. That's not how life works, though.
advances in technology can benefit ordinary Americans and not just multi-billionaires. First, we must move.
Well, let me ask ChatGPT what it thinks would happen if, let's say, 85% of the workforce what didn't need to work. What and it's not we're not just gonna ask ChatGPT what it thinks. We're gonna ask what people are saying, lawmakers, politicians. I wanted to raise that up a little. All right, ChatGPT. There's been a growing concern of the power of AI and its ability to take away up to 50% of people's jobs in 10 years. What would you think? What are people speculating would happen when there's no jobs to actually work at anymore? What would companies do if there's no money to be made off people if they don't have jobs? So the first thing ChatGPT had to say was universal basic income. Basically, the government will be able to give every citizen, family, X amount of dollars to survive. And that would be just basic minimum survival. And that's what I'm talking about. Like the money, whatever wealth you have at that moment, whatever your family has acquired, that's what you're basically going to be locked in. Because the money that they're giving you is not going to be enough to go buy a house. It's going to be enough to pay your taxes or rent this universal basic. Dude, they are locking in on the final steps of the Matrix, bro. So that's it, dude. That's it, bro. Let's see. Are there places that are already offering forms of universal basic income? I think someone in chat was talking about how where they live, you're going to college, they'll pay you $2,500 a month. You're going to college and they'll pay for your school. But I mean, Chip, what are you gonna riot about? What do you the riot is you want to work? I don't know. What do you want to work and you want to get paid slave wages like they've been fucking us for years? I don't know. It's what is the riot for? There's gonna be riots, bro. But I don't think that. See, they know that, bro. Not gonna be. They're not gonna starve you. They're gonna keep you just barely happy.
To a 32-hour work week with no
Oh wait. Is there any places that are already using this universal basic income? How could the government afford to do this? So what they're gonna have to do is, if these tech corporations, these techno billionaires, freaking create this world where no one has to freaking work anymore, they make quadrillion, trillion dollars. They're gonna tax them out. They're gonna tax them to pay for this universal basic income, but then they could leave. That's a problem too. I don't know. What do they do? Just leave the country? You can't do that. This is our lives now? It's unavoidable. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, what are you gonna do? Fight technology? This is basically, this is the same thing as when, I don't know, 150 years ago, when the horse was replaced by the tractor on the farm. The farmer said, "Holy shit! It's not gonna take me 7 hours to do this anymore every day, and I don't need 30 kids anymore. What am I gonna do? What's gonna happen?" Well, we all just got more sophisticated.
In pay. Think about it. Today, American workers are 400% more productive than they were in the 1940s when the 40-hour work week was first established. Artificial intelligence and robotics will greatly increase.
We're more productive now thanks to all this technology. Still work the same amount, but as you know it, we don't even get paid. We don't get paid anymore.
Increase that productivity. Workers must benefit from that increased output through a shorter work week. A 32-hour work week with no loss in pay would be a major step forward in improving the quality of life for millions of Americans. Second, we must require large corporations to allow workers to elect at least 45% of the members of their boards of directors, similar to what already takes place in Germany. Workers need a seat at the table to best determine how AI is used in their companies. If Tesla workers were on their corporate board, I doubt very much that they would be rewarding Elon Musk with a $1 trillion pay package.
Is that real?
Third, we must greatly increase profit sharing at our nation's largest corporations. In my view, workers should receive at least 20% of the stock in companies they work for. Corporate profits should not just be going to enrich wealthy stockholders and the billionaires who own them. Fourth, we need to substantially expand the concept of employee ownership in America. When workers own...
How can he get $1 trillion pay package when 340? Obviously, that doesn't take away the debts. Tesla worth.
Own their own businesses and are more involved in the decision-making processes, they will make choices that benefit everyone in the company, not just the people on top. Fifth, instead of providing billions of dollars in tax breaks to companies that are throwing workers out on the street and replacing them with new technologies, we should enact a robot tax on large corporations and use that revenue to improve the lives of workers who have been harmed in this transition. Bottom line, AI and robotics will bring a
I wonder what is China doing about all this? Because China is like manufacturing center of everything. So if China loses a lot of jobs, it's probably gonna be worse than us.
profound
Everyone is
transformation to our
That's why my recommendation to you would be to live your life debt free, and it's with as low bills as you could make $1 million, make as much money as you want a year. But if you're spending too much,
country. Nobody denies that. In my view, we must fight to make sure that these changes benefit all of us and not just a handful of billionaires. Let the debate begin, and we need your participation. Thank you very much.
if I was in Vermont, I'd vote for Bernie. Run for president again. They wouldn't elect him. A lot of people seem to be saying more taxes for companies